You are truly the man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
The adventures of.
We are not going to say what just happened.
All right. All right. Welcome back to our web stream. These are the. This will be the wild card round since it's the NFL playoff bracket. 3 versus 6, 4 versus 5 on each side. We have two matches going on at the same time. On the handicap side, it is Bethany Jakewith taking on Callie Bazil and Jenna Kloss taking on Brianne Hood. And Bethany now with 39, and she gets 27 pins over Callie Bazil, who's up on 6. She needs the spare to get 28 and a spare. Meanwhile, Jenna Kloss had an open the first frame and a strike, and Brianne Hood working on a double. Brianne gets 18 pins. Over on the scratch side is Colby Bennett, who's up on lane 3. If he converts this is 39 and a spare. Aaron Heckman, strike, open, strike, so he's got 28 and a strike after 3. Isaac Erickson up now on lane 4. He's working on 2 consecutive spares. And guys, refresh my memory who his opponent is. Sean Walsh, thank you. Yeah, John Walsh has the Jared Goff jersey on today. We allowed the kids to wear either Patriots or Rams paraphernalia. Sean with a spare strike. And he'll be up next on 3 as Bennett makes the spare. And it is a 1-pin lead right now based on max score for Colby. Shout out to Isaac Erickson. Bowled his first 800 this week, and it was a monster. 831 here at 1 and 2 on Dutch, so congratulations to Isaac. Kloss with a spare. Gives her 28 and a spare. And then on the opposite side, double and then a spare for Brianne Hood, 49 and a spare for her. Counting the 18 pins, 67 and a spare. She's got a 39 pin lead early.
Reminder for those of you that are watching, the finals of all of our majors, we do re-oil the lanes, so they are bowling on a fresh pattern. And we use the PJBT gold pins for the finals of our majors.
Aaron Heckman's shaking his head. Don't shake your head at a strike at this point of the game, bud. That's a double, and Colby Bennett strikes and maintains his 1-pin lead during the 4th frame. Now both Isaac and Sean are up. Sean has the lead. On the opposite side here in handicap, Jenna Kloss leaves a 2-pin. She gets it. She's got 47 and a spare. That is my wife and the other fearless leader you hear behind us cackling up a storm. Strike for Sean. That's turkey for him. So total score 50 and a double. Brianne Hood up on 5 and gets the worst break possible. We're hitting the pocket, leaves the 7-10.
She's done that more than once today.
And Kloss can't get it to come back, so she's at 56. Nothing for Hood, so the lead is 27. Nice strike by Heckman. That's 3 in a row for him. Bennett needs to strike to stay in the lead by 1. Goes a little high. That's a 4-7. And Jakewith can't get the jersey 10 pin to fall. Brazil trying to make it come back from the outside. Leaves the 1-2.
Open frame there for Bethany.
So 55 plus she gets 27 pins, so 82 pins in the fifth. Fifth for her as Brazil will try and cut the lead to potentially 3, and she makes both.
Erickson up now on the right lane. Strike there for him, trying to get back in the match now.
Nice messenger by him. Kloss again leaves 2-4-5 on that side.
Walsh up now on 3, looking for a 3-bagger to take a commanding lead in this match. Up 30 right now. Comes up just a hair high, leaves the 6-pin.
$158 for Hood. And Kloss got it out in the oil and never made it back. So 64 in the fifth for Kloss. And Hood will try and convert this and get back to a 29-pin lead. Got 2 out of the 3, so 84 scratch plus 18 pins is 102. And the lead is 38.
Over under 45. East Lincoln. Yeah.
Heckman. Seven and 1 for Heckman. So he's got 111 after 6. Colby only took the 1-2-5-8 out on that shot. He needs this for a chance to get the lead back in the next frame. Gets 4, so 101, so he's down 10 after 6.
Would it be fair to call that leave the big 6?
Yes, it would.
I would say so, because we don't see 4-pin counts when you hit the head pin a whole lot.
We'll call it the nasty 6.
We may need to include Travis in what we mean by that.
Yes. We'll go over that later.
Yes.
Strike for Walsh, that's 119 and a strike after 6 for him, and his lead is nearly 40 now on Isaac. Hood gets 2 out of 3 on the split for 93, and 18 pins makes 111. Kloss needed an eyelash to the right, so she's got 73 in the 6th. Erickson makes his spare, but down 46 after 6. Ryan Goddard, the number 2 seed, will take on the highest seed remaining out of the winners of 3 and 4. And our leader in scratch,
Nicholas Vanderwend.
Vanderwend will take on the lowest seed to come out of the match on 3 and 4. And then on the handicap side, Sarah Fennikel is top seed. She'll take on the lowest seed remaining out of the winners from 5 and 6. And Amelia Mickiewicz among the highest seed remaining from the winners in 5 and 6 as Jaquith converts the 4-5-7 after she had some bad breaks last time. So she's got the lead as Bazil can't convert the 2-4-5. So Bazil 94 and Bethany 99 and a spare, and Kloss finally gets a break. So 73 and a strike after 7 as Hood with 111 enters the 7th frame. And back onto the scratch side here with Erickson, 83 and a spare on lane 4. Hood insists on playing that outside line, and it was always a challenge back in back in the urethane days, I remember a lot of the bowlers challenge themselves to try and get it between the first arrow and the gutter. And that's pretty much the line that Hood is playing right now. Needs this spare to maintain and Walsh with a solid 9-pin. Hood cannot make the 1-2, so she is at 102 plus 18 is 120. Now, if you're looking at maximum score, Jenna Kloss can still go off for 193. Meanwhile, Hood can get 192 scratch and 210 with handicap, as Callie Bazil with the strike. And then Bethany Jakewith, who has the lead, and she's playing that far outside line as well, and gets it back for the 2-4-5-7.
Sean Walsh missing that 9-pin. Going to let Isaac get a little bit of a sniff here and get back in this match, maybe.
All right,
See
so maximum score, if you're talking 237 for Sean, 223 for Isaac, so the lead is only 14. You figure spare strike spare for Walsh would be 207, and Isaac still has an opportunity as Jakewith makes that tough spare. Heckman, nice strike.
It's a big strike for him.
He needed that to keep a 10-pin lead on Bennett. Now Bennett up on 4 needs to keep that within 10. And he does. He gets the 10-pin out of there. So that's only a 10-pin match entering the 9th frame. Hood makes her spare. 102 and a spare. With the handicap, it's 120 and a spare. And Kloss trying to get it the hard way. Cannot. So 101 in the 8th. Her maximum is 161 if she would go off, and Brienne can clinch it with 2 strikes here, 9th and 10th. Single pin spares for both Walsh and Eric. Callie Bazil working on a strike, and she took out the 2-3, 4-6, 7-10. Which for you duckpin fans, you know is the double Winchester if you leave that. Or candlepin, folks. But the 1-5-8-9 is what she has left. Walsh and Erickson make their spares, and that's 24 pins now. And Bazil makes it. So the lead is 19 for Jakewith, as Kloss leaves a split on 5, the 3, 6, 7, 10. Makes it a little easier now for Hood, as 151 is the most that Kloss can get, and Brienne Hood with handicap is working on 120 and a spare. 9th frame for her. Leaves a 5-pin. And Heckman splits, and his lead is in jeopardy. Oh, right around it. Not a good time for that bad break. So 110. Hood makes the spare, and that clinches it for her. What do you need?
We've been losing pens today, left and right.
Oh, okay.
Better losing the pen than losing our minds, so.
Yeah, we lost those long ago.
I lost that along with my hair.
There goes the microphone.
Oh, well, he doesn't need that.
Yeah.
That's just truer words have never been spoken.
At least I didn't do that.
Bennett makes the spare, and he's got a 2-pin lead now. His max is 191, and Heckman's max is 189. We're going to keep an eye on the handicap side because they are now in the 10th frame. Callie Bazil working on a strike. That's 134 and a strike. Oh. And a solid 8-pin. max is 154. Bethany makes her spare. And that'll do it.
Yes.
So Bethany Jakewith moves on. So Callie will wrap up with 153 here, as Jakewith has already won with 160. And whatever else she gets on this, as Erickson misses the 10 pin. And that just, well, all Sean does when he gets up is get 3 pins on the first ball to win that match. So Bethany Jakewith is your winner of the first match, 169-153.
She'll move on to face Malia Mickiewicz.
As Erin Heckman leaves a solid 7-10. Well, the first ball of the 10th. And Brianne Hood on a spare. Now that's 131, and add in the handicap is 149. But that's enough. But that's still going to be enough because Kloss can only get 140. Bennett has a makeable.
So if Aaron gets one of these, Colby's going to need to make the spare to win. If he were to get one, they would tie.
168.
So none is a loser, one is a tie, 2 is a winner. And we have a tie.
And we have a tie, and we will continue that match in just a moment.
Right after this commercial break, sponsored by, who are we sponsored by today?
Well, we can't take the commercial break because we still got the 10th frame here for.
Nah.
We're just going to go right to the coin toss in overtime.
Erickson, the most he can get is 181, and Walsh already has 177. And that shot's a winner. Brianne Hood ended up with 158, 140 plus 18 pins. Kloss made her spare, so she can strike for 130. Erickson finishing out.
That's a 6 count.
And he just has not been able to find a good shot here on 3 and 4.
Yes, he left a 2 or 3 ringing 10 pins that really changed this match around.
That strike that Erickson had on lane 3, that was his first of the game on that lane. 169 for Erickson, 185 for Sean Walsh. All right, so we got a tiebreaker here between Bennett and Heckman.
So 9th and 10th frame roll off is what we do here to break the tie.
Bennett has chosen to start because he is higher seed. So he's bowling 9th and 10th frame. We strike for Bennett.
So no matter what, he can't be shut out. How's that for an astute comment?
So Heckman, the most he can get, the most either bowler can get is 60. Strike.
Good shot.
We got to this point because Heckman opened in the 9th and 10th, and Bennett, he spared in the 9th, but could not convert the 3-6 in the 10th frame, and they ended up in a tie. And now we're still in a tie, strike and strike on both sides. So match each other in the 10th frame. We go to another tiebreaker. It has been a really long time since I have seen a non-pocket 4-pin.
You see something new every day.
Yes.
Spare for Heckman.
All right, so count here is going to be huge. If he could strike here, he will force Colby to strike on his first ball in the 10th to win.
Although we have tie implications all over the place as well.
Yes, we do.
$168.
60.
Big shot here for Aaron. And he gets 10, so that will force Colby to strike on the first ball to win the match.
So here's the math behind it. If Colby doubles and gets count in the fill, he wins. Strike spare, we have a tie. Spare strike, we have a tie.
And that'll do it.
Not necessarily.
Well, he's got to get small count.
Six on this ball, and
Yes.
he has it.
Yes, it is.
And he did leave a 4 count over here before.
Colby
50.
will
Yep.
Colby will move on to face Ryan Goddard. And Sean Walsh will face Nick Vanderwen. We will flip-flop matches. The scratch division will go over to lanes 5 and 6. Handicap division over to 3 and 4 for our semifinals.
$57.40 is your final as Colby strength.
For those of you out there watching, tonight is the deadline to get the discounted entry for the adult junior at Midway next week. If you pay by midnight tonight, it's 70 per team, 76 if you pay after today. Midway Lanes out in Carlisle.
And we'll remind you during the practice break here of what events we got coming up, and remind you of the change in the girls' schedule for the final all-girls regular season event.
Okay, bowling fans, time to give out our awards for the first round of the finals. Finishing in 6th in the scratch division, getting a $50 scholarship certificate and award goes to Aaron Heckman.
Aaron Heckman, your fifth and sixth place winner.
And our 5th place finisher in the scratch division, getting a $50 scholarship certificate and award goes to Isaac Erickson.
Isaac Erickson, your fifth place finisher. Both bowlers receiving, I believe it was $50.
Officially our 6th place finisher in the handicap division, getting a $50 scholarship certificate and award goes to Callie Bazell.
Callie Bazil, your sixth place finisher, also a $50 scholarship.
And officially today, our 5th place finisher in handicap, getting a $50 scholarship.
All right, as we get ready for the semifinals, let's talk about upcoming events. Next week, as Skip was just saying, we have our next adult junior tournament out in the Carlisle area at Midway Lanes. That is next Sunday, start time at 10:30. Once again, if you put down a deposit at our website, www.pjbtbowlingseries.com, if you put down a deposit by midnight tonight, your entry fee gets reduced to $70. The week after that, we go to my favorite little bowling center, so you know I'll be there, at East Lincoln Lanes, right outside of York, Sunday, February 17th, 10:30 start time. The following week, we go over to the other side, to Bethlehem. Sunday, February 24th, Town and Country Lanes, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, 10:30 start time. And then, Sunday, March 3rd, we have our three-person tournament. We always have that up at Clearview Lanes in Mount Joy. Sunday, March the 3rd, 10:30 start time. Also, the next Buddy's Pro Shop adult tournament is Sunday, February 17th at Burke's Lanes. That is an over 45, under 45 doubles.
Correct.
So you could get your doubles teams together for you adults and head over to Burke's on the 17th. Travis, about the girls.
The next girls event has been moved. It will be at Hodja Rose Bowl, 15th and Sumner in Allentown. That is the first Saturday in April. I believe the date on that is April 6th. Hang on, honey. April 6th.
April 7th.
No, it's Saturday, April 6th.
April 6th. Okay, your wife was holding up 7 fingers. That's why I said 7.
No, it's April 6th.
Oh, okay.
It's Saturday. It's Saturday, April 6th. 2:30 start time. Again, that is at Rose Bowl in Allentown. And then the top 16 advance to the finals. In points-wise, advance to the finals first Saturday in May at Purett Training Center in Ephrata. And I believe in the handicap division, points-wise, you have to have at least 2 tournaments in to be in the top 16. And in scratch, there are 13 bowlers in the top 16 right now that have 2 tournaments, and the rest have 1. So even by just showing up, you may earn yourself a spot in the final if you win. So that's all coming up April 6th.
Been watching our stream for a couple of years now. You will notice that Sarah is now bowling left-handed.
And that's out of necessity.
Yes, why don't you talk about that, Travis?
Injuries. She had so many doctor's visits and injuries, and she even made junior gold back in 2017 as a right-hander, but then shortly after that, she decided that it was just too painful for her to bowl right-handed anymore and would need surgery. I believe it was on her either left shoulder or rotator cuff, so she has made the change to bowling as a left-hander. She's in here with an 85 average. In fact, she bowled last week, the girls' event, with an 83 average and made it to the final. She throws a straight ball. She hasn't, she's still learning. I mean, imagine if you're a right-hander, you've done everything in your life right-handed, and you've got to switch over to your left hand.
Yeah, you're essentially starting over.
Yeah, I mean, you got to go all the way back to when we're talking before fundamentals. I mean, she needs a while when she gets onto your approach just to remind herself, okay, it's this foot first, it's this hand first. You got to push away first. I mean, if if you've thrown one hand at all your life, I mean, it just comes right to you. It's like driving a car, riding a bicycle. It comes to you right away. But if you switch hands or you have to switch methods, it doesn't come to you right away. You've got to tell yourself and think to yourself, I've got to do this first. You've got a whole different mental checklist you've got to go through. So if you see her up on the approach take a hair longer than everybody else, that is most likely what's going through her head. She's just got to go through an entire mental checklist of, I've got to do this, 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 this. This foot goes first, then I can go.
She is the field up, and she has since switched back to right-handed.
One more practice shot. Then we can get underway with
Okay, bowling fans, it is time for our semifinal matches for today's event. Starting on the left pair with the handicap bowlers, we have number 1 seed Sarah Fenical taking on number 5 seed Brianne Hood. Sarah gets the difference in the handicap of 59. In our second match, we have number 2 seed Melia Mitscavige taking on number 3 seed Bethany Jaquith. The difference in handicap is 44 going to Bethany. Okay? On the right side, you have your scratch matches. You have number 1 seed Nicholas Vanderwen taking on number 4 seed Sean Walsh. In the other match, we have number 2 seed Ryan Goddard taking on number 3 seed Colby Bennett. The winners of these matches will then bowl each other for the title. Bowling fans, let's give a nice hand for our semi-finalists.
All right, off we go and for the semifinals.
the only bowler to really upset the apple cart was Brianne Hood, the number 5 seed. She won her match. Everything else pretty much held to form. Bethany is a 3 seed, and both higher seeds over in scratch, they won as well. So it's 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3 in scratch, and 1 versus 5, 2 versus 3 in handicap. Fenical gets 59 in her match, and Bethany gets 44 in her match. My first time seeing Vanderwend, he strikes. It's my first time seeing Walsh as well.
This is actually only Nick's second PJBT.
He was bowling for Penn State Berks for a while.
Brianne Hood, she finished 5th in last week's girls event. Lost in the stepladder to her Cumberland Valley teammate Haven Harrington in their stepladder match. See if she can, and she does rebound through game predictions in the chat side if you want to offer up scores or anything. Excuse me.
What are your thoughts this evening, Travis?
I just want a good game. I mean, I have, you've got the Patriots with experience on their side, and how they've done it with an aging yet very experienced offense and defense versus the young up-and-coming Rams, who've got some of the best players in football on both sides of the ball. My 2 biggest questions for the Rams are, number 1, how's that secondary going to hold up? And number 2, how will the flip-flopping in the backfield between Todd Gurley and C.J. Anderson affect things? Will we have a high-scoring shootout like we did last year between New England and Philly, or is it going to be, they're going to try and do ball control on both sides? Because both teams can play both styles of games. Vanderwen doubles to start his match. Walsh, spare and an open for 26. Bennett, he opened on his first frame as Goddard struck. And then over here on the handicap side, a split for Brianne off her spare. And then Fenical, 9 in her first frame, and we'll see if she can make her spare here. Solid 10 pin for Goddard as Colby tries to get on track. He won last match with a tiebreaker, 57-40, as he strikes. Two out of 3 for Hood, 26, as she's got 59 pins to make up on Fenical. 4. And again, forgive us for going in and out with our coverage here. The internet has been spotty at best. Strike for Jaquith after an open. She's got 44 on Mickiewicz, daughter of PWBA champion Jackie Mickiewicz. And her brother Ryan bowls for Penn State this year. Two, 5, 6, 10, 3, 5, 6, 10, excuse me, for Walsh, who opened in his second frame, and now Vanderwende. Two-hander looking for 3 in a row. That's a no-doubter. Four out of 4 on the spare for Walsh. So he's got 26 and a spare, but trails in this match early on by 44. Fenical with the 6-10. Hood. And that's the second time in a row on that lane, and it hasn't come back. That's a sweet break for Ryan Goddard, who trips a 4-pin and gets a strike. Three, 6, 10 for Bennett. And for the second time in a row on lane 4, 0 spare for Hood. So she's got 26 and a spare. Meanwhile, Fenical, with her miss and counting the handicap, has 82. Bad break for Bennett. He thought he had the 3-6-10, but could not get the 10-pin out. Walsh in front of us trying to make the washout. And again, we've seen bad breaks on washouts. That second time this afternoon we've seen pin go off the wall and not get back to the pin, as a 4-7-10 decides to fall late, and Vanderwende's got 4 in a row. Mickiewicz makes her spare, so 24 and a spare for her. And Jaquith, if she makes this, 29 and a spare, and with handicap will be 73 and a spare. Gets 3 out of 4.
I was told that your community, for that amount of time, we certainly appreciate everything that you do as a officer of the law. Great respect.
His daughter's got a 40-plus pin lead early on in her match. Bennett, he's had no problem on the left lane. He's got 2 strikes in the left lane, 2 opens on the right lane. Fenical gets 6 the hard way. Anytime anybody hits that pocket and gets that kind of pin action like Sarah did on 4, I am reminded of the time that my wife and I bowled in the league and we lost the title by 11 pins because a guy struck in the 6-10 pocket. I am not kidding. And he was a righty. So Hood slowly but surely making up the gap between her and Fenical. The lead is now down to 33. Vanderwende gets his first spare of the match. Thing is, it's after 4 strikes, so 109 and a spare for him through 5, and a commanding 47-pin lead on Sean Walsh. Amelia Mickiewicz with a 50-pin deficit and cannot get the ball to come back to the pocket. 1-2-6-10. And Goddard leaves the Greek Church. And he can't get it to come back, so he's got the 1-2-4. Four out of 5 makes it 93 for Goddard. And if Bennett can convert here, the lead is 27 for Goddard. Ball change for Hood on lane 4, and this didn't come back. And both ladies putting up with splits. Hoods was on a spare. Let's see if she can convert this. 2-4, 6-10. Gets 2, so that's 69 for her through 5. And Fennicle makes the 5-7. So 88 and a spare for her through 5, and it was a break she needed. 2 spares in a row for Vanderwind. He's got 127 and a spare after 6, and a 55-pin lead on Walsh. Ball change from Mickiewicz, and it comes up too sharp. And I don't blame her for shaking her head at it. 4-6-7. Jakewith makes the spare. 54 and a spare. Scratch makes 98 and a spare with her 44 pins. And Mickiewicz with 56 after 5.
Big strike there for Colby.
Makes it 76 and a strike for him after 6. And a spare for Goddard. The lead is down to 7 for Goddard as Brianne Hood strikes. Five pin for Fennicle. And that was on a spare. So our sideline reporter, Mrs. Fearless Leader, has told us that Sarah has a second obstacle. She's colorblind.
Her colorblind to gold.
She cannot see gold. She's got to look at the monitor after every time to see what pins are up there.
And if the pins aren't up on the monitor, somebody has to tell her. We've had that discussion before.
That's amazing.
And I thought only guys got colorblind. You're colorblind.
I'm colorblind.
No kidding. To what colors? All of them or just some?
Blue, purple.
That's interesting. So Colby's throwing a blue ball right now. What do you see? Do you just see gray?
So, somebody asked me one time, what color do I see when I look at the traffic light? I said, I don't know. I just keep going.
Ryan Goddard misses, so he's got 120. after 7. Colby, if he makes this, will be down 4. And he gets both. So he has 96 and a spare. Looking at maximum scores here, it's 206 maximum for Colby and 210 max for Ryan. Now Sean Walsh, who has been trailing the entire game, gets a strike, so that's 111 and a strike.
Yeah, a darker blue for me is almost completely purple.
A 3-pin for Fennekel and a 3-9 for Hood. Oh, thought that was coming back all the way, and it didn't. 97 now for Hood. And if Fennekel can make this, it's a 29-pin lead for Sarah. She got it, and Colby Bennett got a strike. And he now takes the lead in that match. And Bethany Jakewith strikes, as Malia Mickiewicz has just been on the struggle bus the entire game here.
That's a pretty big miss there for Ryan Goddard in such a tight match.
Yeah, he's only at 129 right now, as there's Malia's first strike. Yeah, back to the scratch side here, as Vanderwend pretty much put the icing on the cake on that one. He's got 207 already without showing up in the 10th frame.
He has checked out.
Yes, that's a win. And he'll be the top seed entering our final. Bennett and Goddard. With that miss, Goddard can only get 189. Bennett's 116 and a strike. If they were to go strike, spare, strike all the way out, Colby would win by 7.
Look at Sarah matching her opponent.
1, 2, 3, 5, 7 on both sides. As Hood can't convert, so that's 102 for Hood. And Sarah looking to possibly put her match out of reach as well. Nothing on both sides for Fennekel and Hood. So the lead is 34 for Fennekel. Jakewith looking to possibly shut out Mickiewicz. But this is still a close one. I mean, the lead was 15 scratch plus another 44 for handicap. And a split for Mickiewicz, the 2-4-10. So 1 for Bethany. 106 plus 44 is 150. And because Malia did not get anything, that match is over.
Yes, it is.
Bethany Jakewith will move on to the final. Sean Walsh ends up with 174. As Vanderwend will finish with 267. Front 4, spare, and off the sheet. He never let up. Led through the entire match. So Nicholas Vanderwend advances to the title. His opponent, we will find out within the next minute here, as Goddard trails by 17. Needs this and gets it.
If he were to get the next strike and count, he would force Colby to strike first shot in the 10th.
Well, Colby's not going to wait that long and take the shot. Meanwhile, Hood makes her spare. She's got 102 and a spare. If Fennekel were not to make this, then that's still a match. Bennett got it.
He will be moving on with count.
So Bennett with 146 and a double. The lead is still 17. Goddard strikes. And Fennekel misses. So the maximum Hood can get is 152. Sarah is at 145 and would need 8 on 2 balls to clinch. It can happen. Bennett looking to clinch. And Colby Bennett will advance against Nicholas van der Ven to the final. Goddard finishes with 189.
He'll be a little disappointed with those back-to-back opens. The 7th and 8th frame.
And Bennett will finish with 206. Now the 10th frame here on the handicap side. Hood needs a strike to stay alive. Gets the 7 to fall. All right, Fennekel needs 8 on this ball. She gets 8 here, she advances to the final. She got it.
That's a winner.
Don't need to tell her what she left there. She got them all. That's a strike. And the rarest of 4 counts for Hood, the 1, 2, 6, 7, 9, 10.
Oh, come on. I saw you leave that in league last week.
You were obviously looking at the wrong person because I didn't have any less than a 6 count.
All right, 2 weeks ago.
I can't tell you the last time I left a 4 count.
I bet you your wife can. As she smiles. 295. Well, that's not a 4 count. Hey, he didn't shoot as bad as I did when I had the front 11. So. Nope. At the dots. I was playing right up the gutter at the old Cedar Lanes. Literally right up the one board. Had to dip my shoulder about as far as it could go to get the ball into a roll really early, and I nipped my ankle, and at the dots, it was in the gutter.
$165, 140. Sarah Fennekel advances to the final, and she will take on local favorite Bethany Jakewith, who in the 8th frame clinched her match. So she leaves the 6-10. And both young ladies have won titles before. And on the scratch side, I know Colby has won, but Nicholas, you said this is his 2nd PJBT and looking for his first win. As Jakewith makes her spare, that's 124 and a spare. With handicap, it's 168 and a spare. And
Yes, to my knowledge, Nick's last win would have come in the Blue Hen Open down in Delaware with his Penn State Berks teammates earlier this year.
And Miscavige is just going to file this one away and head home to Du Bois and move on here, because this was just not her day on this pair. Bowled really well to get to the point to be a number 2 seed, but file it under O for one of those days.
Yes.
She'll be back.
It does happen. We've all had those days.
Yeah, you don't want to look back and see 125 in a semifinal round. It's just hitch the wagons up and head on home. The groundhog pops up and gives us the sheets.
I don't know.
Matt Oz shadow, so 4 more months of PJBTs. How's that?
Let me ask, would you rather lose throwing a bad game, or would you want to shoot like 278 and lose? If it matters.
I have lost 279, 278 to
I'm
John
sure you have.
Jameson in league.
Oh, I thought you were going to say to your wife.
Oh, that's probably happened
Yeah.
too. I've lost count of that. I'd rather it be a blowout, honestly.
I won a bracket one time shooting 300 to 299.
That's not bad.
We'll think of more embarrassing moments in just a moment as Matt gets the awards ready for 3rd through 4th, and then we'll get on with our finals, and then
It did happen in winner take all a couple years ago here up in Strike Zone.
I remember that.
Yeah, my kid shot 300. Mastriani left a 5-pin, shot 299 on 19 and 20. After this, we're going to get Skip's prognostication on the big game. Then I'll chime in.
He does have one.
Yes, he does.
Okay, bowling fans, that concludes our semifinal matches. Finishing in 4th in the scratch division, getting a $75 scholarship certificate and award goes to Sean Walsh.
Sean Walsh, your 4th place finisher. $75 scholarship. Good day for Sean.
And our 3rd place finisher in the scratch division, getting a $75 scholarship certificate and award goes to Ryan Goddard.
Ryan Goddard, also a $75 scholarship for his 3rd place finish.
Okay, officially today, our 4th place finisher in the handicap division, getting a $75 scholarship certificate and award goes to Brianne Hood.
Brianne Hood, your 4th place finisher, $75 scholarship.
And officially our 3rd place finisher.
Place finish.
Okay, on to our title matches.
All right, Skip, the floor is all yours.
Well, we didn't really talk about this too much. I kind of hinted to the way I was feeling. I kind of agree with Jason. I think you're going to say a lot of the things that I am. I like a low-scoring first half, a high-scoring second half. I think they're going to be right there together. I mean, I think it could be a 3 to 4 point game easily. I will be rooting for the Rams tonight just because, I like to see the new guys win every now and then. But I think that old guy is just going to have it his way by the end of the night.
Mm-hmm.
So, as much as it pains me to say it, I will take the Patriots tonight.
Okay. To me, being a gambler, you don't necessarily bet a team, you bet the number. And when the line opened 2 weeks ago after the AFC Championship game, the line, believe it or not, the Rams were the favorite by 1.5. 2 hours later, the Pats were the favorite by 2. 95% of the money and 90% of the tickets were on the Patriots. Anybody that knows anything about betting will know the professionals bet early. So they saw a bad line, and they loaded up. They took the Patriots. Right now, actually, as of last Sunday, the Patriots were still getting 75% of the tickets and 80% of the money. As of right now on pregame.com, my friends will tell you that the Patriots are only getting 59% of the money now.
Well, that might have been that little $1.5 million bet a couple days ago.
Well, that's yeah. But there was another, from what I read, another 7-figure bet. I see this game as very similar to the AFC Championship game. If you read my write-up, New England's easiest way to victory is to keep the Rams offense off the field. So you're going to see a lot of, as Travis said earlier, a lot of ball control, especially early in the game. You're going to see a lot of first down runs, a lot of second down runs, and a lot of short, safe passes on third downs, and they're going to control the clock. The last game against Kansas City, they had the ball 68% of the game. Hard for a team to win when they are only on the field 32% of the time. In the pros, college, it's a little different. So, Josh, I agree with you. I think the old man finds a way to win, especially after losing last year to that stinking team that wears green.
We're not even going to talk about that.
No, we're not. No, we're not.
Words can't even describe how
Yes.
horrible that was.
So, I just kind of like you said, I played the under in the first quarter, under 10.5. Interesting enough, the 8 Super Bowls that the Patriots have been in, their first quarter scores 4 times have been 0-0. Twice has been 3-0. One other time was like 7-0, and last year was 9-3, and that's only because Tom Brady gave up a safety on an intentional grounding for the Eagles' first 2 points, or that game would have went under 2 in the first quarter.
I thought that was a missed extra point.
That was on the Eagles' touchdown. It was
Yeah.
9-3 at the end of the first quarter.
Yeah, actually,
Yeah.
I remember Brady against the Giants the second time threw that pass that resulted in the intentional grounding. It was like a 40-yard bomb down the field, and nobody was there, and was the safety, and the guy won $1 million on the
Oh,
bet in
yeah.
Vegas.
Yeah, maybe I saw it wrong. But anyway, I think under 10.5 first quarter is a safe bet. Under 27.5 halftime is a safe bet.
Well, 10.5 is not the half line.
Yes, sorry, end of first quarter. end of halftime under 27.5. I think anything below 30 for the second half is a winner. If you play props, you take the Patriots to have more time of possession. I'll continue.
Okay, bowling fans, it is time for our title matches for the 7th major of the season. On the left pair on 3 and 4, we have number 1 seed, Nicholas Van der Ven, taking on number, I believe it was 5 seed, right? 3 seed.
3.
Number 3 seed also, Bethany Jaquith. Okay, the difference in handicap is 38 pins to Sarah. Okay, bowling fans, let's have a nice hand for our title matches for today's tournament.
All right, let me finish off quick. I like both teams to score more points in the second half. I like both teams to have more passing yards in the second half. But my favorite prop play is New England to convert more than 5.5 third downs into first downs. Against Kansas City, they had, I believe, 11. So,
For the game or for the half?
for the game.
That seems like a low number to me.
It does.
Yeah, it does.
It seems like an incredibly low number. So anyway, now that wagering in Pennsylvania is legal, feel free to go to your local casino really quick and take my advice. And pray that...
And maybe you will be taking us to Sizzler next week.
Yes, absolutely.
How about a final score? Are you going to give us that?
I'll say the Pats by 3. I'll say 38-34.
I think on my poll I went 34-31, so we're in the same ballpark.
All right, Mr. Accountant, 3 points and 38-34.
I said
does
3
not.
or 4.
3
I
or
said
4.
3
Okay.
or 4.
Okay.
I didn't want to say 38-35 because I got to think the Rams will kick a field goal or two in there somewhere.
All right, I'll be the voice of opposition here. Rams 33, Patriots 31. Last team with the ball wins. And too many times it's been the Patriots, and I think the Rams are going to find a way to utilize Anderson, utilize the short passing game, which has been missing since Cooper Kupp has been hurt. But
Yes.
between Higbee and Reynolds and all the weapons that they have, I think they're going to find a way to do it, maybe toss in a trick play here or there. I see Robert Woods getting not quite 100 yards, but I see Brandon Cooks being a bigger factor, because for Cooks, this is a lot of people remember the tempo of that game changed when he got knocked out of the game last year, because Cooks was doing quite well and making some catches, but then when he got knocked out with a concussion last year, that took away the deep threat for the most part. I mean, when they got Gronkowski open in the first half or the second half last year, that made a difference, but then Philly kept answering.
Yes.
Can I chime in a really, really important stat really quick?
Sure.
I took C.J. Anderson on my fantasy team tonight.
Okay. That's important.
Yes.
It's important
Very important.
because typically when I take a Rams player, they score a touchdown.
Do I need to play that prop really quick?
Will it be 3 straight Super Bowls that Gostkowski misses an extra point?
Yes, he has missed 2 in a row. That is correct.
Because I think that's going to be that's going to be a difference maker somewhere.
I think you're getting 6-1 odds on a missed extra point.
I think if he misses another one, he's going to stay in Atlanta tonight.
And the reason why Patriots didn't make Super Bowl 50 is because he missed the first extra point against Denver. He's a great kicker, but that's a terrible break for Bennett, leaving the 4-7-9. But I think, I'm going to call it. Zuerlein, 59-yard field goal at the gun. And a snowplow for Sarah Fennikel.
We'll have to see how his injury might play into that. He's got a little on his plant foot. He's got a little itch.
But that field goal that he made to win the game, that was good from 67.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
All right, so Colby Bennett off the bad break. He's down 44 already as Nick Vander Wende has struck to start off the match all 3 times. Fennikel gets 38. Spare, strike, and it's fading and leaves the 1-3. Jaquith, meanwhile, 7 on her first frame and spare on her second shot. Either interview on the handicap side will be a fun one after we're done here.
Yes. By the way, for those of you that may not know, Colby Bennett is the reigning PIAA singles champion. On the boys' side, he ran the stepladder last year out in Pittsburgh.
And he's got a couple years to go.
Yes, beating current junior gold U20 champion Anthony Nyer in the finals.
Fennikel makes her spare, so 40 and a spare. And 4 in a row for Vander Wende. Where is he from? I'm asking because this is my first time seeing him.
You know what? I will find out.
I want to say more down towards the Lancaster area.
As opposed to up north here in Akron, Lidditz, Ephrata, yes.
Yes. Yes, exactly right.
We are about 5 miles north of Route 30 here on the right side. So she has 31 after 3.
Ephrata, that's right, Ephrata.
So he's right down the road here in Ephrata.
Yes. Ephrata.
Spare, so 108 and a spare. And the lead is 22. Bethany with a strike. So she's got 31 and a strike. Meanwhile, Fennikel up in her 4th frame with a 40, make it a 38-pin lead currently, going by max score. 69 bowlers altogether today here at the 7th major. That could have been a lot worse for Bennett as he leaves just a 3-pin, but has been struggling so far on this right lane. 2, 4, 5 for Fennikel. .66 and a spare now for Bennett, and a 42-pin deficit to make up here as we're halfway home in the finals and scratch. .64 scratch, and we add in the handicap of 38 pins, so now 102 after 4 for Fennikel. Might be in the middle of a runaway over here in scratch. or if we have a similar result to last time in the semifinal match, we could expect Van der Wende to spare in the 6th and strike in the 7th and take it off the sheet. Seven for Fennekel. Again, if you're just joining us and haven't heard the story of Sarah Fennekel, right-handed for so long. This is only her second year bowling, left-handed. And oh yeah, she's blind to the color gold, and we've got the gold pins in here, so she's got those two obstacles to put up with, and so far so good. She makes this spare, then the lead is still 20. Van der Wende mixes it up with a strike, carries the 4-8. $6-10 for Jaquith.
Looked like he got that one a little in.
That needed a push, and it got it. Spare for Bethany, 51 and a spare after 5. She trails by 40. Now Bennett. If you're talking max already, he's only at 223 and he's down 55. Gets the mixer to strike. Bennett, part of the stable of representatives from Pureit Pro Shop and Training Center, where we will have our girls final coming up first Saturday in May. I believe the lanes are just about done. Now they got to fix the furnace.
Yes. First Saturday in May, huh? We're going to
Yes.
keep that tournament moving, right?
Or have a television working in there somewhere. Yes. So Bennett doubles to keep his slim hopes alive, and Bethany with a spare. She's got 70 and a spare after 6. That one got in too. And Lee just leaves a 4-pin. Oh, and
there's
what
a
a
break.
break. What a break for Fennekel. Just a 7-pin out of what could have been a big 4.
Uh-oh. Ooh.
No, he had a spare ball out. I know what you were thinking, but he had the spare ball out. So 177 and a spare for Van der Wende. If he were to go strike, spare, strike all the way out, that'd be 237. Bennett, the most he can get is 223. Fennekel, and cannot convert the 7-pin this time around either. So 82, scratch, 120 total. The lead is 30. And another 4-pin for Van der Wende, who has not been tested these last 2 matches.
But first he's got to convert.
Two, 4, 5 for Fennekel, and she's left that before. And he does. 196 and a spare.
So let's see if Colby can put some pressure on him. He's going to need to get some X's on the board here in the 9th and 10th.
One for Fennekel gives her 90, and then add on the 38. She's at 128. And Bennett can't get that 4-pin to go either.
Yes, that's pretty much going to end that.
And that's
In fact, it does end that.
Bethany with a strike. And she needed that.
Yes. Yes, the best Colby could do now is 202. Nick already has 206.
So put this one in the books for Nick van der Wende as a first-time champion here in the PJBT.
And he also will punch his ticket to championship weekend.
All right, Bethany's made this before. She made this the last match, the 4-5-7. Let's see if we got deja vu all over again. All right, so 2 out for Bethany. 116, make that 118, excuse me. And Fennikel can pop the lead back up to 30 with a mark. Well, good place for it, Colby, and he's smiling after that one. Solid 9-pin.
Good day for Colby. Good weekend on the lanes. His Cedar Crest Falcons won. There was a Baker tournament up at Clearview yesterday. They took home first place.
One, 2, 5 for Sarah. 192 for Colby Bennett. As Nick van der Wende takes a victory lap here in the 10th frame. By the way, speaking of victory lap, got a chance to watch the NASCAR Hall of Fame ceremonies last night, and good to see the late stars like Alan Kulwicki and Davey Allison get in, and it was Kulwicki who took a Polish victory lap after winning. Yes.
I was not in the best of spirits last night. I missed the Rainbow Six at Santa Anita by a nose.
Oh, I did read that, yes.
Over $6 million was in the pool. The interesting part, though, with over $6 million in the pool, if I hit, I would have only a sloppy, packed track.
Fennikel needed that because she had not marked since the 3rd frame, so 97. Make that 135 and a strike. Jaquith can get 178 if she were to strike out, and van der Wende with 244, and we'll be talking with him after the conclusion of these matches here. And Jaquith now needs to spare here. She's still not out of it.
Absolutely. She could find a way to spare here and get some strikes in the 10th. She could force Sarah to mark.
The magic number for Fennikel on her first ball has been 7. She hasn't gotten any less than that here in the final. Jaquith. All right, gets 8, so 126. Fennikel already with 145. So Bethany needs to strike out to force Sarah to get as good a count as she's gotten all afternoon. And that's going to do it. 6, 7, 10. The most she can get's 135. Fennikel has 1. We're going to fast track because we've got to.
We got to go.
Yes.
Kickoff's in an hour. Yes.
I got to get to bed.
Oh, that's right. Yep. 1 makes it 1, 134 for Jaquith as Fenical is going to wrap up and take home a title. Good place for it, the 5-7. As I head to the well-maintained history page on the PJBT website. All right, does not make it, but makes the final score 161 to 134. Sarah Fenical has won the title. That makes her 8th, and now is tied for 3rd place all-time in handicap titles. Stand by, winter celebration and interviews coming up. And we're going to make them short.
Yes.
Okay, bowling fans, that concludes our 7th major of the season. Time to give out our final awards, finishing a runner-up in the scratch division. Getting a $150 scholarship, certificate, and award goes to Colby Bennett.
Colby Bennett, runner-up today, $150 into his scholarship fund. Good day for Colby.
Our runner-up finisher in the handicap division, getting a $150 scholarship, certificate, and award goes to Bethany Jaquith.
Bethany Jaquith, runner-up handicap division, $150 into her scholarship fund.
And our champions for today in the scratch division with a dominant performance, a $300 scholarship in the first place cup trophy to Nicholas Vanderwen.
Nicholas Vanderwen, your champion today in the scratch division, taking home the $300 first place scholarship.
And our winner in the handicap division, getting a $300 scholarship, certificate, and the first place cup trophy goes to Sarah Fenical.
And Sarah Fenical, your first place in the handicap division, $300 to her scholarship fund.
We'll get a picture with our winners, and we'll send them back for final interviews to wrap everything up for today. Don't forget, next Sunday is our next adult junior event. We'll be at Midway Lanes in Carlisle, PA, starting at 10:30 next Sunday.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
We'll set up the camera for post-match interviews.
Yeah, I did. Sorry, I forgot.
Oop, other way.
All right.
Take
Tilt
it
up.
out some.
Good.
As far as I can go.
That's fine. Yeah, we'll have, we're getting pictures with winners here in just a moment, and then we'll have the interviews. And Matt is finally learning about light when taking pictures.
Sarah, come back quick.
And it's on my pant cuff here. Hang on a second. There we go.
Since I'm off camera, I only want to ask one question later.
Okay.
Go ahead. Go
All
ahead.
right. So I only have 2 questions for you. What do you see when you see gold pins? Because we commented that you cannot see the color gold. Is it just gray? Is it black? Does it blend in with everything? It just, oh, sorry. All right, say that again.
There's nothing at the end of the lane.
So
it's
you
just
just
a
see
blank area.
So when we've got white and red pins, you can see that perfectly. But
Yep.
then the PBA gold pins, and all that there is black and gold. You can't see anything.
Nope.
So you're relying on your folks back here to tell you what you got up.
Yeah, if the pins aren't shown on the score monitors, I can't see them. So then I rely on other people that are watching to tell me what pins are left so I know where to shoot the ball.
Okay. And finally, we're now left-handed. We've known you so much as a right-hander. Will you ever be able to bowl right-handed again?
Unless I get a full shoulder replacement, no.
All right. So how long has the process been to get the brain up here to get into thinking like a left-hander?
Well, this is week 10, and I'm still not quite there.
10 weeks?
10 weeks.
That's amazing.
11-week
Wow.
calendar weeks, but 10 league weeks.
That's amazing that she's that good at 10 weeks.
So 85 average coming into today and doing very well in 10.
I'm definitely sore the whole way through my hand up to my shoulder, but it's not that bad because I'm used to bowling right-handed and being able to force my left hand out and be able to hold the position even with the 10 games with right-handed. So it's still pretty strong in the shoulder.
Well, I can tell you this. You're the first ambidextrous winner ever in PJBT history. That's your 8th title today. That's now second, make that 3rd all-time because we've got 2 bowlers with 9 titles. You've got 8. You're now tied for 3rd. So congratulations. Well done on victory, and we'll see you down the road.
I got a question. And she
course.
knows already
Fats,
what I'm
yep.
going to
Yeah,
ask.
I do.
Go ahead.
The key to winning PJBT tournaments is?
Adding PA Fats on Facebook.
That's right. There's a story behind that.
There's a story behind
Yes.
everything.
Yes, there is.
Good job, kiddo.
All right, ladies and
you.
gentlemen, your handicap division champion, Sarah Fennikel.
Let's get Mr. Vanderwend over here. Our scratch division winner, first-time titleist. Come on in.
I only have one question for this gentleman, too, a little later.
All right, we're clear. I'm Travis. Nice to meet you. I got here late, so congratulations. As I understand, this is only your second PJBT.
Yeah.
And your first title already in scratch, which is very hard to do. Tell us how you played the lanes today.
Basically, I just, whatever the lanes were giving me, that's what I took advantage of. I mean, straighter is greater. I mean, I just kept my angles tight and made the 3 board moves when I had to. I mean, everything was pretty straightforward for me today. Tried to avoid playing deep angles on something so flat. So I just kept everything in front of me, kept my speed up, and just kept making spares.
What equipment were you using today?
I started off the day with a Game Breaker Original Solid. Just, I mean, 239 the first game, 289 the second game. Just helped me keep everything in front of me. Ran into some issues in Game 3. Went to Track Heat Extreme. That ball kind of opened the lane up for me a little bit. And then later in the day, I got to go to the MVP2 hybrid and just went back to the Game Breaker back when they re-oiled for the fresh. And just same thing as the first 2 games. Kept it all in front of me. So it was definitely a good day.
Fats, I'll let you get your question in here.
I want to know where this bowling is when you had the PSU Berks paraphernalia on. Where was it then?
I gained some experience bowling these.
That is
We'll
true.
say that.
That is true.
Some pressure at the PSU tournaments, but
Yes,
I had some good games there. Not
That-
always
that
the
you did.
greatest, but
that you did. You're going to have to rub this tournament victory into somebody. I already know you're going to.
yeah, I mean, all the guys from Berks and all
Yes.
the gals from Berks are Snapchatting me with my stats. I mean, pretty impressive all day, so I'm not too concerned.
Yes, you definitely bowled well in these last 2 matches on fresh.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
led the whole day, I believe so. I don't think I ever got knocked out of the lead, and
I believe you shot, 512 your last 2 games here.
yeah,
That's amazing. That's great bowling.
thank
All
you.
right, congratulations. And that's going to do it for us here. We're getting on out of here. We got a Super
Yes, we
Bowl
are.
to watch. So for Matt, for Josh, for PA Fats, I'm
Yes.
Boom Boom. Great seeing you all again.
Yes.
We'll see you down the road.
Next
Thank
week,
you.
Midway Lanes. Get your Midway Lanes next week. If you want the discount, get your entry in by 11:59 tonight. www.pjbtbowlingseries.com.